Okay, perfect. We're given a couple of minutes there. So, hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're joining from. Again, I'd just like to thank you all for joining us on today's webinar, which is to boost compliance with global data privacy laws through a joint solution from ServiceNow and RadarFirst. So let's jump into it. Firstly, just have to cover off a safe harbor notice, just quickly cover this off. We like to try and be as transparent as possible when we can comes to any future statements when we discuss our products, but being a public traded company, we do have to make sure that we do align to make sure that you guys know that they are future statements, they are subject to change, so please don't make any purchases and decisions on any forward-looking statements. However, saying that, we do try and be as open and as honest as we can, so if you do ask any questions, we're happy to be as open as we can with regards to any forward-looking statements on the product. So we have a lot of webinars going on at the moment. So you may see this now on the ServiceNow community. And today's session is actually part of a series of sessions live on ServiceNow. These are created event series where we're trying to connect you with ServiceNow partner experts and your peers to basically see and help you deploy your products, achieve your value faster as well. And so you can access this schedule by scanning the QR code that's handily on the screen right now. And we'll also post it in the chat for you as well. We'll post a link there so you can access all those webinars going forward as well. So with that, we'll go to the next one. Again, just a few housekeeping points as we go through today's webinar. You will be on mute, but please use the chat feature, add in any points that you want there. We also have a Q&A feature at the bottom that you'll see on the Zoom features. Please ask your questions through there. We'll have time at the end to go through all the questions. We do also have some team in the background that will be going through and answering any questions as they can on the fly, but we'll allow some time at the end, so don't worry about that as well. It is being recorded. As I said, it'll be shared on the ServiceNow community. So this will be there along with all of those other webinars, as I've just mentioned from the series. And also after the event, you'll be prompted with a short survey. So when you close down the webinar, a short survey will pop up. Please take a moment just to share your feedback. It helps us to develop any future topics that you want to see, any future product features as well that you want to see. And it's a real valuable source of information for us at ServiceNow. So we'll jump again to the next one. So my name is Andrew Bowden. I feel like I should have said that at the start, to be honest. Nice to meet you all. I'm the Risk Outbound Product Manager here at ServiceNow. I'm also joined today by Travis Cannon, who is the Director of Integration Solutions at RadarFirst. Travis, I'll hand it over to yourself if you want to say a quick hello.
Thank you, Andrew. Hello, everyone. Pleasure to be here with you today. As Andrew said, I'm Director of Integration Solutions at RadarFirst. I've been with the company for 10 years, and I'm excited to be here and talk about our new integration with ServiceNow.
Excellent. Thanks, Travis. So yeah, for today's kind of webinar, I'll be taking you through just kind of setting your mind about what actually is privacy management within ServiceNow. So just to kind of set the scene before we jump into the integration with RadarFirst, privacy management in ServiceNow allows our clients to get a full understanding of where they sit with a privacy management where they sit with their privacy management and in particular their compliance to regulations. So they can go through and understand on a granular detail where data exists within the enterprise, through automated data discovery. They're able to engage the first line with privacy impact assessments and bring that all into one place through reporting, through dashboards to, show how they're compliant with the ever-changing world of data privacy. So I come from EMEA, I'm based here in London, so we have to comply by, GDPR, but also the new Californian CCPA, new states in the US bringing out data regulations. And so it's an ever-changing environment. So here are, again, a few more nice points that we have within our data privacy solution where, again, you can assess data privacy specific risks, regulations, policies, controls, have that data discovery aspect in terms of out-of-the-box solutions with ServiceNow or maybe third-party solutions that go out and scan your infrastructure and bring back where that sensitive information is. You can actually see as well a nice screenshot on the page right now of a processing activity, a nice overview in terms of the compliance, the different controls, that nice risk heat map as well in terms of understanding your risks with regards to those different activities. You can go through and conduct some privacy impact assessments, privacy risk assessments, and apply continuous controls to monitor those risks and controls, going forward. You can also create issues, remediation tasks, and monitor and track privacy regulatory changes through our regulatory change management product as well. But let's jump into kind of why we're here today. So we're here today to discuss our new RadarFirst integration, and that is one of the new features that have been released in our Washington release. So another one that I just wanted to call your attention to, though, because it's one of many new features that have come out in Washington. We do also have a one-click email communications and PDF reporting for privacy compliance case. So a quick export out into a pre-formatted PDF report that you can send on to the regulator if you need to, or internally within your own organization. And then again, attach that directly to the privacy case record in ServiceNow. And then also in an innovation lab release, so for a few select customers, we're also looking at personal data rights requests, which is there to enable their DSARs or data subject access request program, and how you can collate all that information together, those activities all in one place in terms of going to collect that data, if they want to be deleted or forgotten, for example. So that's coming in Innovation Lab as well for Washington. Now, again, just to kind of explain how RadarFirst fits together with the privacy case management solution, within ServiceNow, and we'll go through this as well actually in a demo shortly, employees can raise privacy cases either through the employee center, so from a proactive standpoint to say there's been a breach, we've accidentally exposed some customer data, or we can also do it through an API integration, so through third-party solutions or through in ServiceNow itself, maybe through a security incident response. So the security operations team have noticed there's been a breach, they can go through and do that breach assessment and then raise a privacy case from there as well. Now here you can see that we've got the different steps through that workflow, like triage, resolve, post-case review, and close. And sometimes you have to bring in a lot of different aspects of the business in terms of HR, legal, IT, employee. So what we're looking to do with our RadarFirst integration is to really speed up that investigative time. Instead of going from weeks, days, for example, to literally mere minutes and seconds for you to understand what risk does this pose to the business, what risk does it pose to those exposed individuals' data, and then what to do from there in terms of remediation plans going forward, and also notifications you may need to give to the regulators as well. So with this, let's quickly ask you guys a question itself. So poll coming up. So how is your organization complying with the evolving state federal and international breach notification laws? So that poll will be launched now. So you'll see we've got a few answers here. So with a privacy tech solution, you're looking to do it with a GRC or IRM tech solution. You maybe have your own solution in development at the moment. You may be manually using spreadsheets or Word document, for example, to kind of keep abreast of all those different regulations that are coming out or what you're doing. Or, being completely honest, you're looking for help as well. So we'll give a few more seconds for people to answer those. I'll quickly just run through the question again for anyone who didn't hear. So how is your organization complying with the evolving state of federal and international breach notification laws? So you're doing it with a privacy specific tech solution. You're doing it with a GRC or IRM tech solution. You have a solution in development. You're manually using spreadsheets or Word or PDF documents, or again the final one there, being honest, we're looking for help with this situation at the moment. Okay, so let's we'll end the poll there. That's been out there for a minute or so. So some interesting results. I can see a spread a few tech solutions, a lot of people using manual or using spreadsheets as well. So I'm sure they'll hopefully see the benefit of the solution that we're going to demo to you today. But thank you very much all for sharing that with us. And with that, I will hand over now to Travis to go through the RadarFirst solution in more detail. Over to you, Travis.
Thank you, Andrew. And thank you everybody who responded to the poll question. We appreciate your responses there. Hopefully, for those of you who are looking for a solution or maybe doing this process manually, we can show you a better way to address this. So let's jump into this. So really from RadarFirst side, we see this, and you'll see this in the demo, we see there are kind of three big challenges, especially when it comes to making sure that we're complying with, the various breach notification laws that are out there. One, they're always changing, as Andrew kind of alluded to. We're constantly seeing new regulations come up. We're seeing changes all the time. And this often has some some follow-on consequences, right? We see some inconsistent notifications going on. You may be assessing under the wrong regulations. And this can lead to kind of missed deadlines. If you're not assessing properly, if you're not keeping up with these regulations, this can result in missed deadlines, which can then have further consequences, maybe penalties or fines or other consequences that may exist. So three really big challenges, and I really kind of want to walk you through how we can solve these challenges and how we can make this a little bit better. So if we go to the next slide, you'll see, obviously every enterprise has a bunch of different risks that they're experiencing. And there can be huge financial impacts for missing deadlines and not adhering to breach notification laws. We know the cost of data breaches is increasing. The cost of notifications are increasing. Everything pretty much across the board is increasing. And this is only moving faster and faster as time goes by. So this kind of exponentially increasing amount of risk, especially if it's dealt with you're trying to manage a breach notification through a manual process, becomes unsustainable. And really what we're talking about with ServiceNow's privacy case management and RadarFirst helping provide a breach analysis is really how do we automate that? How do we make your organization more resilient, allow you to be faster at coming to the correct decision, and then ensuring kind of the operational efficiency of your organization. So let's go to the next slide and talk about where most organizations are today and how they try to address this, which is usually through a manual process, as we kind of saw in the poll results. And usually that is cumbersome. Usually what we see is, an investigation starts, there may be different departments, there may be an assessment that's performed, it kind of goes back. We see this very complicated kind of manual process that may have evolved over time to try and respond to all the different breach notification laws that are out there and to manage these incidents. This can be very cumbersome, especially if you have a large incident volume, if you have, again, changing regulations, if you're trying to keep up with what's going on out there in the world, or if you have short notification timelines, it may take you a long time to kind of get through this. And this inefficiency creates a risk to your organization. And that's what we want to try and help you solve and get rid of. So what we want to do is take you to the next slide, which is to apply as much automation as possible and to really help streamline this process. Manual processes can adapt quickly enough to the rate of change that's occurring inside of the privacy world. So we want to think about how do we apply tools and not just implementing some process or some better kind of protocols, but how do we deploy purpose-built tools to help scale to meet these challenges and again, to create that operational efficiency within your organization. So what does that look like? Andrew showed this slide a little bit earlier, and we're going to walk through this on the demo. That really means, again, kind of leveraging those purpose-built tools and applying them in a thoughtful way within your organization so that you can get that efficiency. What Andrew's going to walk you through is how a case gets started inside of ServiceNow, how that kind of matures and how you go through the investigation and triage process. And then he's going to show you how the RadarFirst integration actually ties into that. And then I will show you a little bit more depth about the Radar integration and kind of give you a little bit more information on that itself. But really, this whole process, the whole goal of this is to take your response time, instead of being, hours or days, we want to take you down to minutes or seconds so that you can get the right answer and respond appropriately for your organization. Now, on the next slide, of course, what are we talking about when we're talking about a radar assessment and helping automate that? Well, this is a really good question. We affectionately refer to this as our brain slide for obvious reasons. But if you think about an assessment and when you're profiling an incident and trying to understand, is this notifiable or not, there are a lot of factors that go into that. Obviously, when did it occur? What are the data elements involved? Which jurisdictions are you talking about? What are the different kind of risk factors, such as the category? Was the information encrypted? Who received it? All of those things have to come together so that you can perform an assessment and make a determination on what your notification obligations are. The nice part with RadarFirst is that we've automated this entire process. So we have all of the breach notification laws turned into software. And at the click of a button, or literally in ServiceNow at the click of a button, we can provide you with that assessment and show you what your notification obligations are so that you know exactly how to respond appropriately to the incident. On the next slide, you can see Obviously, we support regulations around the globe. We have full global coverage of all breach notification laws around the globe. Obviously, all the states here in the United States, as well as most of the federal laws here in the US, but also GDPR and beyond. So you have full global regulatory coverage. And the entire purpose of this is really, again, to help you assess those incidents and then show you that assessment, help you identify what is the risk of harm to those individuals, what are my notification obligations, and what are those deadlines that I have to adhere to make sure that I'm being compliant with breach notification laws. So that's really what Radar First is bringing into the ServiceNow platform and helping, again, automate all of that for you and make kind of take you out of that manual world or those spreadsheets and make it an automated process so that you can respond efficiently. Um, just a little bit more on the next slide. As you can see, obviously, as I said, we have global coverage. We have a lot of organizations that use our software. We've been helping assess incidents now I've been with the organization for over 10 years. So we've been helping organizations around the globe really ensure this. And just to kind of give you an idea of who we are and kind of the talent and the amazing capabilities that we bring to all the organizations that use our application. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Andrew, who's going to walk us through a quick demo, and then I'll be back in just a moment to show you a little bit more with RadarFirst.
Excellent. Thanks, Travis. I'll launch the demo now. Okay, so let's jump into the demonstration. So just casting your mind back to the slide, what we'll first do is look how we can raise a new privacy case. So this could be through the Employee Center, but you could also have it through an API integration, simply through third-party solutions, or actually an internal integration, so to speak, within another ServiceNow solution. So this, for example, could come from a security incident response. If a user wants to go through and investigate more details about the security incident, they can go through, create a breach assessment, and from that, a privacy case. But for now, let's go through and raise a privacy case from the Employee Center as an end user employee would. Okay, so now I'm in the Employee Center. Here you can see obviously all the great links and tiles that I can choose to go for a password reset, system status, any of the tasks I have maybe from a GRC's perspective, GRC assessments. But if I go up to top here and select risk and compliance, here you'll see where I can go through and I can actually report a privacy case. So report a privacy violation or complaint. Here I can click through and I can fill in all the descriptions. So you can see title, description, case type, which is a privacy case, case subtype. I can go through and add all these data in. However, if I also have gone through and I, maybe created one in the past but didn't have enough information to send it off at that time, I can save it as a draft. So here I can view that draft. And here you can see details of a previous case where somebody accidentally left their work laptop on a train. You can see here how it contained sensitive customer data, financial data, including client information, what types of information or personal information attributes were involved, any additional information, select key stakeholders who own this application potentially who've been impacted. I can also add any attachments as well. But for now, that's all the details I need. So from here, I could submit that privacy case. So once that's now been submitted, let's go through and see from a end user perspective, from the privacy team's perspective, from the second line, how we can go through, action that, and get more details, and then effectively see how we can get some more great information from RadarFirst from that integration and help us on our way. Okay, so now I'm logged in as Josh Warner, one of our members of the privacy team. And here you can see I've navigated to the privacy case management workspace dashboard underneath the workspace for privacy management. Here you can see I've got all the details of the cases that need my attention in terms of overdue, cases by overview in terms of state, breach status, priority. You can also see any trends or primary causes in terms of those cases that are coming in. And we can also track any issues as well related to these cases. So we've currently got 10 open issues. But now if I jump into some of the cases that we're currently investigating here directly from the dashboard, here I can see 3 cases that have come in. Let's have a look at this accidentally published more than 300 employees' health records on the organization's intranet. So once I click into the case, you can see a nice overview of the case here with the description, the state in terms of where it is in the workflow, and also the status of it. So there has been a breach detected and it is reportable. We also have a nice timeline here in terms of different different points along the case. So in terms of when investigation plans start, where we are right now. So that's today's date, what's coming up. So we've also got remediation plan start date here as well later in the month. And we've also got actions overview in terms of the two we have, where they are by state, what type, and any tracking of issues here. We then can go on to the actual details here, so you can see where it's more details like the name, the description, who's it been requested by, what is the primary entity related to this, so it's the HR database, what personal information was exposed, and what does it contain it. Yep, 300 impacted individuals, they're all employees. Assignment group, primary origin, so again here you can see it's come from the employee center. If it came from a different source, like I mentioned earlier, you would have security incident response there, or any other potentially third-party tool. You could have that come in from there. And then all the scheduled dates that we need to comply by, and also the breach analysis. Okay, so let's go through those breach analysis points in more detail underneath the breach assessment. Underneath here, you'll see an overview of the breach assessment in terms of the impact summary with the impacted regions. And you can also see the details here in terms of the category of data that was lost. So it's electronic, the region as well, jurisdictions, and any impacted individuals. But let's go and view that in more details here as well. Again, here, nice overview. We can actually see the specific details, and we can also see the PI artifacts here. So if I jump into the EMEA one for electronic, you can see it was electronic data that was lost. What data elements did it contain in terms of, the employees' medical information, personal information, any other details, and what also jurisdictions are impacted. So here you can see for Germany. So now if I go back to the actual breach assessment, what I need to understand is actually what level of risk do these pose to the organization and also to the impacted individuals involved. And so for this, I can initiate our RadarFirst analysis. So you can see on the top right, initiate RadarFirst, initiate that here. And now that's being sent for an integration to RadarFirst to be assessed. And within minutes or even seconds, actually, you can see this right now, that information will come back. So if I refresh the screen here, we'll now see the information from RadarFirst. So a nice summary here in terms of all the different impacted individuals, what level of risk did they pose to the organization. So you can see here, high risk with regards to these jurisdictions. Also, where applicable, we can see when we need to remediate this by. So here for Germany, potentially like a GDPR impact, we've got the date that we need to remediate this issue by, and a nice overview here. I can actually view this in more detail as well, directly from the privacy case. Here underneath the breach assessment tab, again, I can see all that information directly coming from RadarFirst. And I can also, if I want to, view this as a report in RadarFirst, where it can provide more information and more contextual information about how actually that risk assessment has been created and what factors take that into account, which Travis will go through shortly on a direct demonstration into RadarFirst itself. Hopefully you enjoyed that demonstration of how you can see ServiceNow privacy case management can also be used with RadarFirst, and how really you can see RadarFirst can really cut down the time to minutes, even seconds, to do that investigation across your privacy cases that are coming in. The great benefit is that we're collecting all of this information in ServiceNow with regards to security incidents, data coming from Employee Center, and we're able to stitch all of that information together in terms of where data sits, what type of privacy data has been exposed, and then send it to RadarFirst for that better analysis. So keep your eyes peeled now for a demonstration from Travis going into RadarFirst in more detail.
Okay, we're gonna switch screen. So Andrew, if you can stop sharing for just a moment, I will share my screen and I'm gonna show you all Radar. So we're gonna pick up kind of right where Andrew left off in his demonstration. So what we've done now is just kind of clicked on the link, if you will, from inside of privacy case management and navigated our way over into RadarFirst. To take a deeper look at that incident that we had, that 300 health employee records, had kind of been exposed on the company's intranet. What we want to do here in RadarFirst is really take a deeper look at that risk of that assessment. So if we come in here, when you saw Andrew profiling that over on the ServiceNow side, you saw individuals were identified in various different states and countries, California, Germany, some folks out of the Asia Pacific region. And so what we want to do, though, is take a deeper look at that assessment. So if we navigate into Radar, we can see that exact incident here. We can see this was the assessing the impact of sharing 300 employees' records. And we come in here and we can see the details of that here inside of Radar. So this is our risk assessment of this particular incident. It's going to highlight for you the data elements that were tagged as being involved in that incident. We can see here what the incident kind of risk level was. We plot this on a heat map in two dimensions. One is incident severity and the other is the data sensitivity. We can see here that this is landing as a high risk incident, which makes sense. I mean, employee information, it was medical information, it was shared, maybe in a public environment, that would be considered kind of a high risk. And what we can see here is Radar's specific guidance to this actual incident. So we can see here, it's saying yes, the affected individuals do need to be notified. California doesn't have a particular timeline to do that, just as soon as possible without unreasonable delay. But there is not an obligation to notify the Attorney General because it didn't affect more than 500 California residents. So Radar is picking up all of the nuances of that particular breach notification law and showing you the exact notification obligations. Now, if I was to take a look at this from the EU perspective of the individuals that, the 100 or so individuals that were impacted, from the EU's perspective, I see a slightly different story. I see different data elements that are picked up as being regulated. I'll see here that maybe I have a lead supervisory authority as set as the Austrian Data Protection Authority. I need to notify them. Radar is highlighting that. And then because all those residents, all those people impacted were residents of Germany, maybe I would have that obligation to notify those affected individuals. But again, Radar is showing you all of this. It's showing you what your notification obligations are. And again, it's a very similar story if we were to navigate over to, Australia. Again, we're going to see a very similar kind of pattern. We're going to see the data that was involved. We're going to see our risk heat map, and we're going to see the notification obligations to the individuals, or if there's other government authorities, what those are. And again, same for Japan as well, just to kind of round out all the employees that were impacted in this particular incident. But again, all of this was done, at the click of a button. This information came in from ServiceNow. It was assessed, and then we're kind of just going into Radar to take a deeper look at that assessment and maybe figure out, are there any questions that we have about this? At any time, we can always take a step back, take a look at our profile if we want to understand all the inputs that went into this, all the different answers to our risk factor questions, for our data element selections, for the jurisdictions that were selected. We can always take a look at this inside of Radar and see, hey, do we have any concerns or issues? Is there anything else that we need to investigate? Again, all of this information is at your fingertips within the Radar platform itself. Of course, once you're done with this, you agree with this, you can then go back to ServiceNow and complete the rest of your privacy case investigation. But really, what we wanted to show you is kind of what's happening behind the scenes of that assessment, show you the kind of the details that are really being looked at, so that you understand kind of what's happening as you're getting this automated response. So with that, I'm going to hand it back to Andrew here, and we're going to, I think, wrap up our last few slides.
Excellent. Thanks, Travis. Yeah, so back sharing my screen. So just to kind of wrap that up, in terms of the RadarFirst integration with privacy case management in ServiceNow, hopefully you can see how you can initiate, investigate, and identify privacy cases through Employee Center or through other sources within ServiceNow. So incidents, security incidents, for example. You're able to go through and do breach assessments, identify and document critical details of the privacy case from the various sources, understanding what information has been exposed, where it's been exposed, and having all of that information flow through from ServiceNow. And then you're able to hand it over to RadarFirst, where Travis can explain then what happens.
Absolutely. And from the RadarFirst side, what you're seeing, is that risk assessment being performed really to understand what is the risk of harm to those impacted individuals. Make sure that you're highlighting what all the various obligations are, whether or not you need to notify the affected individuals, different regulatory bodies, make sure that you have a clear understanding of what those timelines are so that you can respond in a timely manner. And then obviously, suggesting, the appropriate actions to take, again, as said, whether that's making notification, or if it's, offering credit monitoring or whatever the particular obligations are that are defined within the various breach notification laws. Again, all of that information flows back over into ServiceNow so that you can see all of that information inside of your privacy case, kind of bringing this full circle, from incident being created, being able to triage it, investigate it, and then assess it, find out what your obligations are, and then make sure that you're completing those obligations and resolving that case as quickly as possible.
Excellent. Yeah, and you can hopefully see in the demos that we did, that is in a matter of seconds. So that literally came straight through back in. We can then kind of tie it up to analyze the causes, the consequences, do that root cause analysis. Why was that data exposed? From that, manage tasks across the organization. So there'll be tasks for security, maybe fix the issue, which was the underlying reason why it was exposed. HR may need to be notified, have those SLAs in order to handle those data breaches. And again, those obligations like Travis mentioned, all within ServiceNow. So you get that nice full privacy case lifecycle, going to RadarFirst, getting that great information back, and then handling it and remediating it going forward. So with that, I'd just like to say thank you very much for attending today. As we're going to wrap up today's program, webinar, you will be reminded to take a short survey. Please respond. It literally takes a few seconds. If you can respond to that, it really helps us in terms of where we're going to present to you next, maybe what the rest of the product needs to look like as well. So yeah, please feel free, or please can you take that. It only takes a few seconds to complete the survey. And with that, thanks again for joining us. We'll end that there.